Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Green. I'm Senior Partner Marketing Manager at UKG, and want to thank you for joining our webinar today to learn more about Raven Intel and how you can leverage customer reviews. Raven Intel is an online community that provides customers with independent reviews on consulting organizations. UKG has partnered with Raven Intel to help amplify the voice of your customers to generate awareness and help grow your business. We have seen a lot of great success with partners taking advantage of the platform, and we're looking forward to getting more of you involved and expanding the opportunity to all services partners. I'm hoping that today's session will help answer any questions that you may have about the program. We encourage you to get active on the site, and for additional awareness, you'll be able to link to your profile on the UKG Marketplace via the Reviews tab, and we'll chat about that a little bit later. So before we get started, I just want to remind everyone that we are using the Zoom platform today. And if you do have questions, we encourage you to use the Q&A button located on the bottom of the Zoom window. We recommend that you don't use the chat function because using the Q&A section instead will help us monitor and manage your questions as they come in. We do plan on answering questions at the end of the session as time permits, and we'll also have some commonly asked questions that we'll share with you during the presentation. If we don't get to your question, we will follow up with you after the event. All attendee sound and video will be muted, so you're all muted at this time. This meeting is being recorded, as we talked about in the beginning, and will be shared with you after the event, along with an FAQ and sample customer email. We always get this question, and we want to make sure you have the information to refer to as you get started with your profile, as well as share with others within your organization. And now I'd like to introduce Bonnie Tinder, founder and CEO of Raven Intel, who will provide an overview of the program. Bonnie?
Great, thanks so much, Jennifer. Well, we are delighted to be here with you today and really talk about how you can amplify the voice of your customers using Raven Intel. So for the next 30 minutes, we're going to cover several topics. So number one, the importance of customer reviews. Number two, tell you a little bit about the Raven story. Number three, talk through some steps for you to get started leveraging the platform or expanding on what you're already doing on Raven Intel. And also, most importantly, how to ask customers for reviews. And finally, we'll end with enough time for some Q&A to make this really interactive. So I want to introduce myself. I'm Bonnie Tinder. I am the CEO and founder of Raven Intel, and I'm really happy to be hosting today's session. I have spent the last 25 years in the HR tech industry, and what is important to me and what I'm extremely passionate about is the voice of the customer and really making sure that customers have a great buying experience as well as implementation experience. I've learned over the last, many years that implementation is such a rough and critical part in a customer's journey. And all of you know that on the phone today. And we really are all about helping customers make a better decision and improve the implementation experience overall. I'll be joined by Lauren Lee, who's on the line, and you're going to meet in a few minutes if you haven't already. Lauren is Raven's customer engagement manager, and she's going to be your main point of contact with any technical questions and things like that. Really, what I want to communicate to you is we are here to make you and your firm successful. So use us as a resource, use Raven Intel as a part of your toolkit, and call upon us for help in the coming days, because at the end of the day, we want to make you successful and get to know your customers and amplify their voice. So I want to start off by having you think about the last purchase that you made and how reviews may have factored into that. You probably use reviews whether you're about to purchase a $10 item or whether you're purchasing a $1,000 item. Sites like Amazon and Yelp and TripAdvisor and Glassdoor have really made and changed the buying process over the last 10 years. For example, I recently bought a new patio umbrella off of Amazon this year. And I looked at several things. First of all, I looked at the features of umbrellas. How big was it? What sort of, up and down motion did it have? Those sort of basics. What colors were available? I looked at costs and I looked at availability. Obviously, if it was a prime, item, it went up to the top of the list. But what made the decision for me about my patio umbrella came down to reviews. I had started shopping and thought I was going to buy a $70 umbrella. But when I saw that they only had 11 reviews on the product, they were all 5-star, it really made me question, like, is this a legit item? The next item that I looked at was $125. It was a bigger umbrella slightly, and it had this tilt function, which was nice. And so $125, I looked at that and really considered it. But what caught my eye was another umbrella that was like $49, and it had 23,000 reviews, 4.5 stars. So not all positive, but that made me look at that umbrella further. I was able to weigh the features and cost, and it was like less than anything else that I had looked at. And those reviews were the deciding factor for me. If it was a low cost item, I wouldn't have considered it if it didn't have all of those reviews. And the reason I say this is because not only are we looking and making buying decisions like this when we're buying a patio umbrella or, a vacuum cleaner, your customers in enterprise software are looking for that same advice and those same peer reviews when they're choosing a partner for a project. Forrester did a study. 75% of decision makers who purchase technology or technology services look to their peers for advice. And furthermore, that same study showed that those decision makers were 270% more likely to purchase a product or a service based on the fact that that firm had 5 or more reviews. And reviews are gold today in terms of peer wisdom. Certainly, as all of you know, customers request references and one-on-one calls and things like that. On the other hand, during the process, that comes at the late stage of the game, versus reviews would provide a way for your customers and the buyers of UKG services to have research on what the experience of other customers have been. So reviews, I don't want to sort of spend too much time here, but what's important is that you understand and can appreciate that UKG customers are looking at reviews in order to make a decision. And so it behooves you to have reviews available about your customers to get in front of more customers, as well as help them make a better decision in the process. And that gets me to Raven Intel and the topic of today's session. So for enterprise software services, so this is implementation and project experience, Raven Intel is really designed as the source that customers can go to make a great decision in a partner. We have over 16,000 global visitors every quarter. We represent not only UKG, but you can see other major HCM players are represented as well. We have over 1,000 reviews, over 200 partners on the site. And in addition to providing a place that customers can go and look for a partner, we provide buyer's reports and education on what customers should look for when selecting a partner, as well as thought leadership and research all about project work. As I mentioned at the top of this call, I've spent the last 25 years of my career, literally since I graduated college, in the HR tech industry. And yes, they are like, those years are like dog years, right? And one of the things that I saw was this real need for customers to improve the implementation experience. As you all know, implementation, it's hard, it's painful, it's costly. And I wanted to make it a lot easier for customers to de-risk the selection process for a partner, as well as improve the overall implementation experiences. And that's really the genesis of Raven. Prior to Raven, there was no place to vet a partner or firm who does services work. And I wanted to make it really easy for a customer to go in and see who was good, who was not good, and not have to rely on, the software vendor salesperson to walk the right people in the door. Although, that a lot of times that happens, customers need to look wider than just one or two partners during a selection process. And certainly they need to look wider than, or rely on, well, I'm going to go with, this big 5 consulting firm because I've recognized their name because, they have millions of dollars to spend on advertising. At the end of the day, the reason I started this site was for partners like you who are on the phone right now, who want to do great work for customers, will stand by your work and want everybody to know about it. So that's really what the platform is. And people have asked me, what's the name Raven Intel all about? Why did you name it that? And Ravens are super smart birds. They know who to trust and who not to trust. And so, essentially Raven Intel gives customers this bird's eye view, and really you and software vendors a bird's eye view on implementation and partner work. And so you can spot the sort of diamonds and the firms that are best suited for a particular project really easy. A little bit about our customer reviews. We have over 1,000 of them. Over 100% of our reviews on our site have been verified with a 2-step process. There is not a single review out on our site that hasn't gone through 2 human checkpoints and multiple ways for us to understand, is this a legitimate review or not? And Lauren is going to talk about that as well. But trust is a huge thing for us. So every review that you have on your own personal page, every review that you see on your competitors or other peers' SI pages, all of those reviews have been fully vetted by us. We have over 40 countries that are represented with projects. So we look and we can make very normalized any project, whether it's an HR project or financials, and we can look at some common elements about projects and draw correlations of them. So what do we look at specifically in our reviews? Number 1, satisfaction. Number 2, service delivery. So was a project delivered on time? Was it delivered on budget? How was the team that was brought to the project? Did they change during the course of a project? Boy, that's a big problem when there's lots of change in a team. How did the customer feel about the quality of staff and how well they knew the product and how to lead a project? How responsive were they? Things like that. And then finally, project scoping quality. Were there change orders? Did the consulting firm understand the needs going in, or did they sort of land and expand as we see sometimes, where it's, they're going to sell something cheap and then make up for that with all of the change orders that come down during the course of a project. So those are the main KPIs that we look at. Most importantly, though, the real gold that we get from customers is, did they get the value that they anticipated going in, and to what degree? And then also, what were the lessons learned? What would the advice would they give to other customers? And it's all of those things that are driving traffic to Raven Intel. Raven Intel is not Google Light, where people want to look at and read all about what you say about you. Raven Intel is a place where customers are driven because of what customers say about you. And Lauren's going to talk about the review process and getting them. But as you think about editing your profile and all of that, what I would say is, you're going to spend time doing anything. Your time should be spent in getting reviews from customers on the site, because that's what's going to drive traffic to your page and awareness about your business. So overall, Raven's value to you is really simple. You can get the word out about how well you're doing as a firm with projects and with your customers from a very independent perspective. This isn't you bragging about you. This is about your customers bragging about you in an independent place. Number two, it increases your visibility to buyers of UKG and other software. Number three, it makes the reference process lots easier for you because you can point your prospects to your page, and it's free. It is free to be listed, it is free to be reviewed, and we want you to get everything you possibly can from our site. Finally, UKG sees every review that comes through, and they see in aggregate the scores, and they're using Raven Intel really as this independent way to monitor project and partner success, and really leverage and amplify all of the positive things happening. And there's a ton of positive things happening with UKG customers. We see it every day from your customers. So know that, even if you get one review, two reviews, Ultimate, the good team at Ultimate is seeing that information as well, and is going to really, help amplify that internally for you as well. We already have many on the phone today that have already leveraged the power of Raven Intel and reviews, more importantly. So Align, HRMS, Civility, H-Architect, Wise Consulting. These guys are showing how it's done. They have 10+ reviews on the site. And what I would say is for all of you that are listed here, keep those reviews coming. And for anybody who's not listed here that's on the phone now, let's give these guys some competition. Let's see how many reviews that you can get in. So in the next call that we do together, you'll be up here and having some reviews as well. Finally, the UKG partner search area looks like this. I'm sure you've already gone there. If you've gone to Raven Intel, clicked on the UKG partner search area, this is what it looks like. Customers can easily, find you through location or specialty search. But the way that our search works is that if you have more reviews, you come at the top of the search. So my final parting thought here before I turn it over to Lauren is the more reviews that you have, the higher in search that you will be, the higher that you will be seen by potential customers. So more reviews is better. Lauren, on to you.
Thank you, Bonnie. Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren. I'm the Customer Engagement Manager at Raven Intel. I am your go-to person for any questions that you may have regarding your listing and requesting new reviews. I've spoken with many of you already, and those that I do not know, I look forward to meeting you. So I'm going to go over the details that you need to know regarding your listing and requesting new reviews. To the left, you see an example of how your listing appears on the UKG listings page. If you need to change your company's logo, please reach out to me and I can help you do that. So you'll see it's your company logo, name, ratings, number of reviews, as well as the software. And to the right is an example of a listing page. So this is really how you can go more in depth about your company. At the top, you'll see an image where you can upload images to a rotating gallery. The gallery displays 3 images at a time. Then the listing will display your company name and slogan. And on your listing, customers can request a quote as well as submit a review. And then you'll see that your Raven Intel rating and number of reviews are also listed. Your profile. So once you've claimed your listing, you can customize your profile tab to say exactly what you want about your firm. This is also where you want to include key search terms for your company. There's also a review tab. So once we receive a review and the review has passed our verification process, we will post the review to your listing within about 24 hours. And if you have claimed your listing, you will receive an automated alert. And to the right, you'll see how you can share your listing. So make sure that you share your profile URL to point customers back to your listing in RFPs and social media, etc. Also, your company's specialties will be listed to the right, as well as your contact information. Okay, this is how to ask customers to review you, and it is the absolute most important step. Reviews are the most important thing about your listing. And if there's anything you remember, please remember to get new reviews. So this is how to ask your customers for new reviews. You can send an invitation to your customers and we can receive reviews for projects that go back to 12 to 18 months. The goal is to get 10 new reviews by July 15th. To the left, you'll see our customer review outreach template, which you are free to modify. In the template, it explains that the review takes about 5 minutes to complete. Your customer's personal information will not be shared, but we do require a work email address in order to verify the review. And their feedback will be posted anonymously to Raven Intel. We've also included a link at the bottom for your convenience. Here are a couple tips that we have to ensure that you get the most out of your outreach process. The more invites you send, the more reviews you'll receive. So there's about a 10% average response rate. It's really important to send the outreach from a person's email address and not just a general email box. You want your customer to recognize who the outreach is coming from. We also recommend that you embed the invite process into your customer project lifecycle at the project go live. So you want the project to be fresh in your customer's mind. Also, each project phase can be reviewed separately. And you can also send the invite to several people within your customer's company that worked on the project. We recommend that you send 3 email reminders to keep the outreach at the top of your customer's inbox. And also, several consulting partners have had a positive outreach with offering an incentive. So if you choose to offer a gift card, Amazon gift card, or Starbucks gift card, or make a charitable donation, those are things that have worked for other consulting partners. Please let us know and we can help you with that. Okay, so there are 3 main things you need to do in order to get started. Claim your listing, get reviewed, and socialize your listing. So if you haven't done so already, claim your listing. There will be a blue Claim Now button to the right on your listing page. Claiming your listing will allow you to edit your listing, and it will also allow you to receive an automated email alert once a new review is posted to your listing. Also, if you need to change the listing owner, please reach out and we can do that for you on our end. If you have any questions regarding editing your listing or requesting your reviews, please reach out to me, Lauren at ravenintel.com. Inviting customers to review their UKG projects. So UKG's goal for you is to get 10 new reviews by July 15th. You can request multiple reviews per company, so the project leader, project team member, etc., within your customer's company. We cannot accept reviews for projects that consulting partners have worked on themselves.
And just to clarify, Lauren, because we've already received some like this, the consultants from your firm cannot fill out the review. It has to be the customer review. So we disqualify approximately 10% of reviews that come through when we see it's directly from a consulting firm person, or an erroneous email that we cannot verify. So just wanted to clarify that.
Yes, thank you so much. And then remember, the more review invites you send, the more likely you are to receive new reviews. So there's about a 10% completion rate. Also, your reviews will be linked back to your UKG marketplace about Q3 in 2021. Socializing your Raven Intel listing. Make sure that you use your Raven Intel listing as a reference, use it in RFPs, customer presentations, and of course, social media. Embed your listing widget on your website. I'll explain this more in the next slide. Make sure that you get new reviews. So here you can see the widget with your ratings real time. It automatically pulls your rating in from ravenintel.com, as well as the number of reviews. This can be embedded on your website, linked to your Raven Intel listing, and the Review Now button links directly to our review link. So consulting partners that use their ratings real-time widget and 5-star consulting partner banners receive more reviews to the Raven Intel listing. And we provide 2 banners that you can embed on your website as well as your email signature. And those can be linked back to your Raven Intel listing as well, and the review link.
And one thing to point out, Lauren mentioned this before, that the UKG marketplace already has linkage between your page on Marketplace and Raven Intel. And here's an example of one of them, a link between the two. In Q3, and this is currently in process with the marketing place, programming team, is that they will actually have the Raven reviews embedded within here dynamically as well. So that is on the roadmap. Know that the importance of these Raven reviews is, getting those linked in on the marketplace it's on the roadmap. It's something that we're all looking at, and already customers can link out to your page. It's just that those reviews will be dynamically pulled, and the sort of wiring for that is on the roadmap for Q3. Okay, so as we mentioned before, we want to make the session from here on out very interactive. And I don't know if we have any questions yet that have come in through chat. Ronnie is going to actually care for those. We actually had a couple of questions that came in even ahead of this conference that we want to just talk through initially.
We have our own internal customer satisfaction process. Does this overlap?
And the answer to that is no, it doesn't. Most firms have an internal survey that they do with a customer that is different than a Raven Intel review. The difference is, while both of these measure customer sentiment, a Raven Intel review you can leverage publicly. And really use that to, showcase the great work that you are doing. And, versus an internal survey, which is held in a black box. And that's nice that you have that internally, and that's certainly still important to do. But a Raven Intel review helps you win more business in the future. So in some ways, we both measure the customer sentiment, but the Raven Intel reviews gives you the ability to amplify that, externally as well.
What would the time frame be that we should ask a customer for a review?
So typically you want to ask a customer for a review as soon after a milestone in a project as possible. If you had a go live, that's an obvious one. You want to send them a review almost immediately, but definitely within the month of completion. And you can also ask a customer for a review during different milestones within the project as well. The review form cares for the fact that it's not necessarily a go live, but a customer can rate you even, during a phase 2 of a project, let's just say. And so, you can have a customer do multiple reviews at different checkpoints within the project, and the review form will care for that. So as you're doing an initial campaign to get reviews, so you have one review today and you want to get to your 10, what we'd say is go back to the last 18 months of projects that have been completed. Your guys that have just gone through a project, they're going to be way more likely, because it's fresh in their mind, to do a review. However, if somebody can credibly speak and remember about their project as far as 18 months back, we can accept that as a legitimate review. So again, we've said this throughout the webinar, but the more reviews that you send, the more likely you are to get reviewed by customers. And so you want to cast your net wide. Don't just focus on a project leader. You can actually have a review sent to any person in that company who's worked on the project and can speak about the relationship between you and your firm.
What happens if we have a change internally and want to change the ownership of our profile?
So typically, we have one person who can claim the listing for the company. If you have a team change and that person, goes to a different role and you want to have somebody new owning that, just contact us and we'll easily switch that information out for you.
How is Raven Intel different than G2 Crowd?
So G2 Crowd is peer reviews for software. They have user reviews about the software experience. And those, again, are user reviews. That is very different than what Raven Intel looks at. Raven Intel looks and is focused completely on project success and the service work that is done around enterprise software. There's no way you could go out to G2 Crowd and say, give me all the best implementers of UKG. That's not the way that that site operates. And that's why Raven Intel is so important for your type of business and what we're looking at here, which is project work and implementation. So while both measure some degree of sentiment about a software experience, what Raven Intel focuses on completely is services work around technology. And just to reiterate again, the Raven Intel reviews will be available in the UK marketplace in Q3, and it's on the roadmap.
How do you know if the reviews are legit?
So we vet every review that comes in through Raven Intel. It goes through 2 human checkpoints. We look at somebody's work email. We send them an email back. If that bounces, we have to disqualify the review. We also look up their LinkedIn credentials to make sure that they are speaking about the the project that can speak about that project. So we vet them through LinkedIn as well. We never post a review that we cannot verify.
Hi, Bonnie. I have a question that I could share from the chat here. What are we, how are we going to drive potential customers to the Raven site, or do you have any suggestions there? I know we're including it in the marketplace from a UKG perspective. We're going to be encouraging sales and everyone to go there, but what are some other suggestions you have?
That's a great question. So it's on a at least weekly basis, if you follow the Raven social channels out on LinkedIn and Twitter, we are actually socializing 5-star reviews that come in. And the idea is to showcase the very recent work that's done. So any way that you can help amplify those, certainly if it's your company, that's a no-brainer. You want to retweet that, you want to send that word out as far as it'll go. But your own internal teams can be utilizing social media to say, hey, check out this comment, check out the quotes that we just got from our customer. Any quote that you get from a customer that's out on Raven Intel, you can credibly use on your website. You can use it on your own marketing channels. Tag us, we'll amplify the message back. But social is a great way to get this information out virally, on your LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook pages, whatever channels you use. So that's one. The other thing is we're continually doing thought leadership that is more broad in nature and designed for somebody who is looking at implementation at the very beginning of a project. Maybe they're not even sure that they're going to, what software they're going to choose out. We want to give them all of the ability to look at UKG and see the strength of UKG implementation as compared to the other options. So, as early in the process as we can get a customer on that buyer journey, we're doing thought leadership about partner selection, about project selection. What do you need to do to blueprint a plan so that we can get all of those folks at the very top of the funnel? Again, how can you help to amplify that and point customers there? It would be, please amplify what we're doing if you think it's relevant to your prospect base, number one. But number two, encourage your customers to go out and add their thoughts and comment back on that, because the more engagement we can get on social, it's the easiest, it's the cheapest way to get the word out about what the value of this is. We don't want to sell, stuff if it has no value for customers. On the other hand, we can help amplify what legitimate customers are saying.
That's it from the chat.
Great. Well, In closing, first of all, I want to thank all of you for your time and attention this morning. We will send out a replay of this if you want to send that to other folks internally. But most important next steps are, number one, if you haven't claimed your profile, it takes about less than 1 minute to do that. But if you haven't done that, make sure you do it, and make sure the person internally that does it is the right one internally. Number two, send an invitation campaign to your customers. If you did nothing else from this webinar, that is the thing that we want you to do, is get customers to review you. It is very easy to ask for a review. Takes the customer 5 minutes. It's anonymous from their perspective. And that will give you so much mileage, more mileage than spending a month redoing your message and your branding. It's really what your customers are saying through the reviews that I want to stress here. So send out that invitation to your campaign. Set that goal of 10 reviews by July 15th. We've had some partners, I mentioned them at the front of the webinar, that have been able to get 20 and 30 reviews within 1 month period of time, some within a couple of weeks, with just a concerted effort. And it's given them so much lift through that small exercise and that small ask to customers that now they're gaining the benefits for. So I'd encourage you to do all of those 3 things. Lauren and I are here to make you successful. So reach out to us should you have any questions. And that's it. Thank you so much for being with us today. And we'll look forward to seeing your reviews come through.